everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I'm back today with a fairly requested video. Since uploading my unboxing, I've had a few requests to do the tips on buying pre-loved items video, so that's what I'm here today to do. I don't consider myself by any means an expert on buying pre-loved. I've only made 3 purchases. I've only started becoming into LV about a year ago. So I don't consider myself an expert or anything, but this is just my tips that I have learned along the way, and maybe it'll help 1 or 2 of you, then I'm happy. I've got sheets of paper just to help me remember what I'm trying to say. So if I keep looking down, I apologize. I just don't want to miss out anything. Okay, so my first tip is do your research. Know you want a bag. Say for example, when I wanted my Speedy, watch reviews. Is this the bag that you really want? I love that YouTube is such an amazing platform for you to go on and find reviews of what other people think of the bag. Speedy. If you type in Speedy 30 review, you will find thousands of videos where ladies and guys have put up their reviews, but not only that, they do wear and tear videos. For the time period that they've had the bag, they talk about the wear and tear on the bag. From these videos, you can decide if this is the right bag for you. But not only that, I think you should also, if you do have access to a LV store, I still think you should go in and have a look at the bag and see how it fits on your body frame. A website that I love to go on for reviews is Purse Forum. So on here, I actually don't have an account, but if I want to know anything, I'll type their question to Google, then all the answers from Purse Forum will come up, and then I usually just go through there. It's like a forum where ladies talk about bags. Another platform where I like to stalk the bag that I'm dying to buy is Instagram. So if you go to Instagram, you can hashtag whatever bag the name is. You'll see lots of posts, obviously, where people have the bag and they share photos of how they use the bag and how it fits their lifestyle. So that's what I like to do as well. An important thing is to find out how much the bag is now. Okay, so currently the Speedy retails in Australia for about 1,340. I'm not too sure, but around the 1,300 mark. If you know how much it is now, you can roughly work out how much it is to buy a pre-loved one and how much you are willing to pay. Louis Vuitton has increases about roughly twice a year. I remember my Speedy bandolier was 1,710 when I received it last year in August, but that was a month after the increase. And I remember before the increase, I think it was $200 less. From that, you can kind of work out how much your bag from whatever year it was made. So basically just find out how much the bag is now and find out how much you're willing to pay for the bag. It also depends on the condition of the bag, but just know your budget so that you don't get ripped off by a seller that just thinks you don't know anything and will try to scam you. Another important tip I have for you guys, if the bag you are after has been updated within the past few years and you are after looking for a pre-loved one, I really highly suggest that you do your research because, for example, okay, so the Speedy 30, this was made in 2010. So if I bring you up close, you can see that the stitching is beneath the rivet. So the rivet is here, the stitching is here. This was the old model Speedy. The new ones now, the new model Speedies now, they come with puffy chaps. And the stitching, if you can see, is above the rivet. And the chaps before on the older model were flat and these are puffy. So with my 2 examples of the Speedies and how Louis Vuitton has updated the style of the bag over the years, if you were to say, for example, you're on eBay and you're looking at a Speedy and it says, I don't know, it's made in 2009, but then stitching on the handles shows you a bag that's the newer model. And so that obviously would be a red flag. But to me, it's really important that you know the bag that you're after. Do your research. Has it been discontinued? Has it been updated? Usually on the Louis Vuitton website, if it has been updated, it will say NM, which means new model. Also, another important tip I have is, yes, the listing may say it's authentic, or people might tell you it's authentic. But if you're going to be paying that much for a bag, I think you should have that peace of mind and get it authenticated by a third party. They want photos of the date code, they want photos of the stitching, of the made in stamp. certain features like that of the bag they would ask photos for. So you would submit these photos and then you pay a fee, maybe $7, I'm not too sure how much. But if you're paying that much for a bag, $7 is really nothing, just to have that peace of mind that you know that it's really, you're not getting like gypped, you know. Another really important tip I have is know how to read your date codes. When I first started becoming obsessed with Louis Vuitton, I knew nothing about date codes, but this is really important. It helps you authenticate the bag, and also it tells you what year it was made and where. Say for example, I have my mini pochette here. My mini pochette was made in France, and if you look on the inside, the date code should be found, if you can see that, just in there. And it says SF2125. If you go on Google and you type in Louis Vuitton date codes, it'll tell you all the codes of which country these items were made. So for example, France, they would have certain factories in France. The location would be depicted by 2 letters. So the first 2 letters of mine is SF. Now the next 4 digits, so 2125, so the first and third number is the week, and the second and fourth number is the year, in the 22nd week of 2015. So it takes a bit of getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, you will know how to read date codes, and you'll be able to know when an item was made. You'll be able to know roughly how much that item is going for. I highly suggest that you guys know how to read these date codes. And also another way that helps you to tell if an item is fake is that the date codes on fake items won't really make sense, because most of these companies don't understand how these date codes work. They just like whack any digits and any letters on there. It doesn't really make sense. The font of the date code and the spacing between each, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you. I'm not going to be able to show you because it's too deep in there. But the font of the date code is a huge indicator of if it's real or not, because once you get the hang of it and once you see a lot of authentic date codes, you can tell which ones are fake. Okay, so now that I have given you a few of those tips, where can you buy pre-loved items? With my unboxing, I actually did purchase that from a Louis Vuitton Facebook group. I will have both the Facebook groups that I'm a member of listed down below. One of them is for Australians only, so I'm sorry if you don't live in Australia, they won't accept you into the group. But there is a American Facebook group that I will list below as well. What I like about these groups is that it's safe, you know, like the admins of these groups are constantly checking the posts that people upload onto the page, and if they are fake, these will get reported, deleted, and the seller will get blocked. I really like that these Facebook groups are available for you to like look on and see what you like and buy. And what's good with this is that you can contact the seller immediately and just have a conversation through there and then ask what you want to know about the bag. Another place you can get secondhand bags is Fashionphile or Yoogi's Closet, but for us Australians, I just didn't find it worth it because the exchange rate is so bad right now. So Fashionphile and Yoogi's Closet is good if you're overseas, or for Australians you might not want to go there, but that's up to you if you want to pay that. But I just don't find it worth it because the price is already quite high for secondhand, and on top of that you have to pay for the exchange rate. So yeah, it's up to you. eBay sellers. Now, both of my items that I bought before my Speedy were actually from eBay, from Japanese sellers, and there are actually a lot of Japanese sellers on eBay that have secondhand Louis Vuitton. Now, you got to be careful because not all of these sellers are genuine, you know, some are and some aren't, so you really have to just do your research, and I will get into that. So sellers that I have personally bought from is cosmotokyo, brandolls, and atlantis-tokyo. So I'll have those listed below. Brandolls, their eBay page, they have a lot of more vintage bags, so that's why you'll find fairly cheap prices. I haven't seen many Damier Bean or Damier Azur bags, mostly monogram, but they're mostly vintage. So if you guys are after something vintage, I would highly suggest Brandolls because their prices are quite affordable. And with them as well, you can email them and make an offer. So what I love about eBay is that you have the option of making an offer, not just accepting the price that they state. I have dealt with Brandolls before because the first ever vintage Speedy that I bought was from Brandolls, and I ended up returning it because I couldn't stand the smell of vintage bags. I just didn't know that at the time, you know. All I wanted was a bag and I didn't know. Vintage items will most likely have a vintage smell. So if you're very sensitive to smells, I wouldn't recommend buying vintage unless you know like ways to like get rid of the smell. But anyway, so going back to brandolls, the communication with that seller was amazing. They were so understanding and they allowed me to send back the bag even though they didn't have to, but they did. So the communication with brandolls was really good. I'd highly recommend them for vintage bags. Cosmotokyo, they're good as well. They have a lot of vintage. Their communication is great as well. Atlantis-Tokyo, I actually haven't bought from them, but I've known a few YouTubers who actually have. So I will leave those eBay sellers listed below, and I'm sure there's so many more. The last place is Facebook groups, which I mentioned already. Now, with payment, I highly suggest you always pay with PayPal. The seller and the buyer are both protected. Say, for example, my bag. I was talking with the seller, asking for photos, asking for like everything I wanted to know is used as evidence, because if that bag comes to me and it's like nothing as described, I have that hard evidence there that I can screenshot and send to PayPal like, hey, this item is not what I paid for, this is not what was advertised, and they can actually refund your money back for you. So I highly recommend that you pay with PayPal, because that way you know that your ass is saved if anything goes wrong. So PayPal, always pay with PayPal. Don't even bank transfer, because that's very dodgy. And especially if you don't know these people, like what if something goes wrong and they scam you, how are you going to get your money back? So always pay with PayPal. Questions that you would want to ask the seller when you are making your purchase. Firstly, obviously, if you're making a purchase, you have seen quite a few photos of this bag and the condition, and you think, okay, this is the bag for me. This is the bag that I want to put my money on because it looks like it's in decent condition. What you need to ask is photos of the corners of the bags, because the corners of the bags are where the bag will show the most wear over time, because you're constantly setting it on the floor, banging into things. So yes, the corners of the bag. Canvas. The canvas is so important. The main thing you should look for when buying a bag is the quality of the canvas. Make sure it has no rips or cracks or tears, because with leather, you can replace that. You can take it into Louis Vuitton and have all the leather replaced, like the handles and the pull tab and whatnot. But with the canvas, if it's ripped, there's nothing you can do about that. Like, it's ripped. They're not going to be able to like fix it up or like stitch it back together. So always prioritize the canvas of the bag when you're buying pre-loved items. If you're sensitive to smell, then that would be a no-brainer. Just ask, are there any smells? And just hope that the seller is honest with you. But if they are a genuine seller and they want to sell their bag to a good home, they will be honest with you. They will tell you. The same thing goes for stains on the bag, like makeup stains or water spots. Just know what it is, and if you're okay with that, then you can go ahead and make the purchase. If not, then just keep looking. A bag will always come up. There will always be a bag that is in the market that you are after. If they are the original owner of the bag, ask them why are they selling. It's good to know why they're selling the bag. Is there something faulty with the bag, or is it just not suited to their lifestyle? So if they had bought it pre-loved and then now you're the third owner, I'd want to know that too. I'd want to know, oh, how come you're selling it? Why did the first owner sell it? Do you know what I mean? So it's just good to know this information. It doesn't hurt to ask for a lower price. Like, say they asking for $800, don't go and offer them $500. Say it's like $800 plus $30 shipping. Maybe offer like $800 including shipping, just like a little bit, because it's kind of, I find it really disrespectful and rude to ask the seller to like lower it by so much. If you can't afford it, just move on. Find something else that you can afford. Don't haggle it to the point where it's like annoying for the seller, and it makes you look bad too. Pros of buying pre-loved. So I have found that since buying my monogram Speedy, the quality of the canvas, it's a lot more supple and soft and malleable compared to my Damio Bean one. I don't know if that's because it's older, it's been used, so it's like more softer and slouchy. But I actually have read on a few forums people saying that Louis Vuitton, I don't want to say has decreased the quality of their bags, but because they're producing so much more, like they have so much more stock out, they are mass producing, and I feel like these older bags are made with better quality canvas. Like, I just feel like between my two Speedies, this one has softer canvas, whereas this one feels a lot thinner. I feel that older bags, maybe pre-2011, have a better quality canvas. Another pro of buying pre-loved is obviously the price. So you don't have to pay the brand new price from the store. You're paying maybe what the seller paid like years ago, or maybe a fraction of the price. So I always, if I want to get a new bag, I always look on the pre-loved market before I go brand new. Someone's lost is your treasure, right? So maybe you'll find something that they didn't like but you love. So I always recommend, if you want to save some money maybe towards a new bag, then go pre-loved. And the final pro to buying pre-loved is that you don't have to worry about the bag. Like I said with my unboxing, the bag's already been used, the bag's already got a patina, the bag already has a few water spots. I'm not going to be afraid to take it out when it rains. Okay, I lied, I probably will be, but I probably won't baby it as much if I were to buy it brand new. Those are my reasons why buying pre-loved is the way to go. On to tips from buying on eBay. When you go on eBay, the seller, in brackets, the name of the seller, it should have like a number. So when you click on that, it comes up with all their feedback. So there'll be positive, neutral, and negative. I always read the negative first. If there's no negative, then I read the positive and the neutral. You can just kind of tell, like, it's common sense. Like, if you're reading and the reviews are saying, oh, this seller has great communication, shipped fast, item is exactly as described, then you know that this seller is authentic. They're a genuine seller that actually wants to make their customers happy. Like, if their items that they are selling is exactly as described, if the shipping is fast, if they have good communication, then you know that this seller is genuine. Have a look at how many items they have sold and how long they have been selling for. So when you go to their profile, you'll be able to see how long they have been a member of eBay, how many items they've sold, and for how long roughly they've been selling for. So if someone's only been selling for 2 months and they don't have that great feedback, I would personally stay clear from them because they haven't had much experience as a seller, and I would rather buy from someone who has been selling for a year or more. And most of these Japanese consignment stores on eBay actually have been selling for quite a long time, so you'll see that. So usually if I can't find that information, I deem the seller as dodgy and I don't bother and I'll move on. So like I said, it's really important that you read their feedback and see how many items they have sold and what items they have sold. With the bidding, I usually sort my items by time ending soonest, so then you'll see which items are going to be outbid within next 20 minutes or so. Usually I don't put a bid in till the last like 10 minutes because the earlier you bid, because on eBay, sorry this video is like all over the place but I have so much to say. So on eBay, if an item is available to bid, you will see, it will say how many bids are currently on for that item. Say for example 31 bids. Usually if people see an item that has a lot of bids put on it, they'll be like, oh, why does everyone want this item? It must be good. So they'll put in a bid for it. So usually the more bids that an item has, the more people that will bid. And then because of that, the price of the item will go up. So I like to bid at the very last like 5 minutes. That way people aren't keep outbidding each other and then the price becomes ridiculous and it's like not even worth it anymore. I hope that makes sense. I'm really bad at explaining, but just don't bid too early because then the price of the item just ends up being really high. Is to check the photos that the seller uploads. Now this is really important because the seller obviously knows that you are looking at these photos to decide if you want the item. If the photo looks like it's taken from a website, I wouldn't even bother, because why are they putting photos from the website? If you have the item to sell, why aren't you putting photos of the actual item? Another thing is, I think eBay lets you have a maximum of 9 or 10 photos. I'm not too sure, someone correct me, but just say 9. And if the seller only has put up 2 or 3 photos, it's like, if you wanted to sell your item, wouldn't you provide a lot of photos for the buyer to see the quality of the item? To me, if a seller puts only a few photos, I stay away from it because it's like they're either lazy or they just have something to hide. You can also email them and ask for more photos, but usually if I only see 2 or 3 photos, I don't bother because they had the opportunity to put up more photos for everyone to see and everyone to decide if they want the bag, but they haven't. So it's like they must be hiding something. I don't know. That's just me. the seller wanted to genuinely sell this to a good home, they would put up clear photos of the bag or just have photos where you can see the quality of the bag. If they've taken a photo of the bag in like in a dark room, how can you see the quality of the leather? What if there's like cracks and stains? You can't see that in that lighting. So always ask for more photos, or if they refuse to, then just move on, find a different seller. In conclusion, not everyone is a genuine seller. Hopefully you guys have learned something. I tried to tell you as much as I know, and I hope that helped some of you out there in making your purchases. Like I said, I am not anyway an expert on buying pre-loved Louis Vuitton. This is just what I have learned along the way, and I'm still learning, you know. If you guys have any other questions, just please let me know in the comment section in below, and I will get around to answering those. And I hope that I have covered the tips on buying pre-loved Louis Vuitton quite thoroughly. This is just what I have learned, and yeah, I hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!